But it says it's a Westclox, and it says, I don't know if you can see it or not, but down here it says clock of tomorrow. That's what intrigued me about it. I thought, okay, this thing, whenever it was made, a long time before I ever bought it, they called it clock of tomorrow. Hey, it's Don Skaggs again for Empowered Inventing TV, where we try to help you help other people by taking your great innovation, the right opportunity, mixing that with sound wisdom so you can turn them into real things like products and businesses that make money. Now, today I want to talk to you about, or ask you a question really, is do you know who invented the alarm clock? Now, you know, as an inventor, entrepreneur, kind of just a quirky science guy, you know, our minds wander to weird places sometimes. And so I was just wondering, you know, before the invention of the alarm clock, how did people get up? Well, I found out this interesting story of in the 1800s, I think it was the earlier 1800s, that people actually paid other people that got up early to go around with a stick or sometimes a pea shooter, I guess if their window was up high, and tap on their window to wake them up. They knocked on their window, and they actually had a name for them. They were called knocker-ups. They were knocking on the window and waking you up. So that was a thing. Most people have kind of forgot about this, and I thought, well, that is really, really interesting to me that people would do that. And this was before there were alarm clocks that people had by their bed. And if you look through the history of clocks and alarm clocks, there's a lot of different things, and you can even go back like into Egypt and Mesopotamia and all these things. And there's a lot of interesting, very big, very you know, large and kind of odd, what we would consider odd today, ways to track time and have some kind of alarm or alert go off. And one of the oldest alarm clocks is a German iron wall clock from the 15th century. It had a bronze bell on it. It was 19 inches tall. So not really something you're going to have in your home, I don't think. So there was a lot of different clocks around. And I even heard a story of one guy in America in like the 1700s who had made an alarm clock just for himself, and he didn't patent it, he didn't make them, he didn't sell them, he just wanted it for his own self. Sometimes us as inventors do this. We just like, okay, this is cool, I like this. Maybe they don't think there's a market for it, or they just don't, you know, it's not what they're into or wanting to do. And apparently that was this guy's story. Now there was a man named Simon Willard who invented lighthouse clocks with alarms in the 1820s. It's kind of an important thing when you're in a lighthouse and need to be alerted at certain things at certain times. But it really wasn't until the late 1870s that small alarm clocks were starting to gain popularity. Now, I've got a kind of an old alarm clock here, and this is not one that I use. I actually used this for a while. It doesn't work anymore. Anybody knows of somebody who fixes old clocks like this? It's an old mechanical clock, but I picked this up somewhere. It was old when I bought it, and I'll bet I bought it 30 years ago, picked it up at some, you know, shop or market or someplace. It was used, but it says it's a Westclox, and it says, I don't know if you can see it or not, but down here it says clock of tomorrow. That's what intrigued me about it. I thought, okay, this thing, whenever it was made, a long time before I ever bought it, they called it clock of tomorrow. So I really didn't know much about it or even how old it was, but just to kind of back up a little here, 1876, Seth Thomas Clark, the Seth Thomas Clock Company patented a small alarm clock, I guess more on the order of this one, but they actually issued a patent for a very small alarm clock, or small considering, you know, the ginormous ones that were probably where it was its predecessors. So, and in the late 1870s, small alarm clocks, like I said, they were gaining popularity. Westclox, the company that actually made this clock, was founded in 1885. And then I came across just this real interesting factoid that actually had something to do with this, and that was that Westclox introduced the chime alarm in 1931. Actually they had a famous advertising slogan for it that I'd never heard till I read this just the other day. It said, "First it whispers, then he shouts." And I thought that makes perfect sense. Now, back when this thing worked, because it actually worked, and again, I would like anybody that can let me know who fixes clocks like this, that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. I'd love to see if I could get this working again, because it had a very unique little alarm. I mean, to think of this, you wound it up, you set the alarm went off, but it would first do a chime. It would like ding, 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 and then finally it would just kind of go off. Now, we've got stuff that do that all the time now, but back when this was made, that was a new thing. It was a clock of tomorrow. So anyway, yeah, I got really excited when I heard they first came out with a chime alarm in 1931. I said, ooh, this could be really old, 1931. And then I found out that this particular one that says clock of tomorrow came out probably late 1950s. Still pretty old, still kind of cool. But anyway, this always just fascinated me. I guess because it said clock of tomorrow, and tomorrow for us, in their perspective, was a long time ago. So, we talk about these things and they're interesting and all that. But as you know, we don't talk about stories like this unless we can figure out things we can learn from these stories. So what can we take from all this? Well, first off is that a lot of technology development starts out big, like the big giant clocks that had different ways that they worked and functioned, and some of them had to be really, really big. Think about a computer that filled a room that now is like something you could, you just have in your pocket. So things start out as really big, then it gets smaller and lighter and cheaper. So maybe there's something that is in its infancy right now that's big, it's clunky, maybe just some big companies buy it and use it, that could be miniaturized, cheapened, turned from a rich person's luxury to an everyman's a commodity, almost. Model T, a good example of that as well. So a lot of things start out as big, and a lot of times we can, as inventors, can take advantage of that. I kind of think that knocker-ups were probably upset at the advent of the small alarm clocks, because now they were being replaced by a little thing you just put on your nightstand, set it and forget it, as Ron Popeil used to say, and it kind of put them out of business. There's nobody does that now, I don't think. So things change as things go along. So look at these problems where people are upset and kind of see where the opportunities are. Because any time there's friction, anytime things change, there's always other opportunities there, other than the opportunity that's kind of displacing the thing that's making people upset. Another thing is alarm clocks had been around for a long time, but the improvements can still got patents. And so think about this. You might come up with an idea, oh, this is so cool, and you look it up on Amazon or look it up somewhere. Oh, look, there it is. Oh, I guess it's over now. I can't do this. It can be improved on. Maybe you've got something they hadn't thought that leapfrogs them. So again, use your superpower. Use that creativity to do that. Another thing is how your customer reacts to an innovation is more important than the innovation itself. So there's lots of different alarm clock patents out there, and a lot of different products that tried to hit the market. The ones that won were the ones that everybody liked. Lastly, do you want to serve a mass industry or a niche industry? And you can, if you want to have the big clock and sell it to the big company or the big organization, then you can do that. If it's specialty, if it's niche, and there's nothing wrong with that. Niches are great. I love niche industries. or maybe you want to sell it to a mass industry and you want to have that everyman, that Model T thing. So it depends on your audience, what the price they're willing to pay, and if it's valuable to them. That's always very important. So if you're looking for more information about protecting your idea, check out our Empowered Inventing Academy course, Protecting What's Valuable about your idea. And really apropos for this talk today, I think. And that's all on empoweredinventing.com. I'm Don Skaggs. This is Empowered Inventing TV. Be sure and like, subscribe, help us to build our tribe. And I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, maybe one of our online courses, or on the next video.